Hello and welcome to The Content Bite, a podcast for freelancers who use their words to make money. I'm Rachel Smiedt, a freelance journalist, copywriter and content producer. I'm also the founder of Rachel's List, a jobs board and community for Aussie writers and other creatives.
Hello, and I'm Lynn Testoni. I'm a journalist and a content writer as well, and Rachel and I are your weekly co-hosts, and every week we're bringing you all kinds of tips, ideas and some fabulous guests to help you make the most of your freelance business.
Hi Lynn, hi everybody, welcome back.
Hi Rach, it's great to be back and I'm so excited about our guest today. It's another in our series of successful freelancers and he's a very good friend. I think we go further back than either of us want to admit to. And he's had a great career and I know it's going to be a fun chat.
Yes, I'm looking forward to this one too. We are chatting to David Smiedt, who's a longtime freelancer and stand-up comedian. I've read your work in various magazines, David, and I've also seen your stand-up routine at the Marble Bar, I think, many years ago. But before we start chatting to you, David, I'm going to share a little bio for you. David Smiedt is a writer for a wide range of magazines, including Elle, Cosmopolitan, Men's Health, Women's Health, Body and Soul, and Vogue, where he specialises in a humorous take on style, health trends, and celebrity profiles. Aside from being the current grooming editor for GQ magazine, grooming editor, he is the only journalist in Australian publishing history to be in concurrent issues of Lads Mag, Ralph and Your Garden. He's also the author of 5 humorous books. And in addition, David has been delighting audiences around the country and overseas with his brand of warm, inclusive comedy for over 12 years. And he's now one of Australia's finest comedian MCs and corporate performers. What a resume.
Yeah, welcome, David. So nice to have you with us.
Thank you both. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, wow. I know you've had a great career, David. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your career? Because you've worked almost everywhere, haven't you? Often with me.
I have. The start of the career was almost a typical story. I wrote a column for CLEO magazine when I was at uni. They had a column back in the day called His Say, which was a male take on relationships. And they accepted it. And they said, right, send us an invoice. And I went, well, can you pay me by letting me come into the office one day a week? And I will write whatever you want me to write for you.
Wow. Working
with the amazing Lisa Wilkinson at the time. And because of that, I managed to get a little portfolio together of published work. And it was really just snippets, 200 or 300 word stories, advertorials, that kind of thing, whatever the other writers didn't want to do. And from that, I managed to get a small portfolio together, which in turn led to a couple of more freelancing opportunities while I was still at uni. And then a job came up straight out of uni at a magazine called Penthouse.
Nice.
And that was my first full-time job in journalism as copy editor, which is the same as a sub, really, a junior sub.
Yeah.
Wow. What did you learn from those days at Penthouse?
Well, I learned that that in 1990, you could charge $14.95 for a magazine and still sell 250,000 a month.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That was pre-internet where you couldn't get all that material on the internet.
Absolutely. And more so that if you went a little bit racier and put a plastic bag over the magazine and added a few more pics, you could sell it for $19.95 a month.
Wow. I know you do a lot of regular work now for, like, you've been writing for Home Beautiful for how many years now?
I've lost count. It's at least a decade writing for Home Beautiful. I've kind of fallen into this niche as a writer. I'm the back page guy. So I want something kind of
necessarily a bad thing though, hey?
Oh, no. I joyfully claim it. Because at the end of most magazines, people would like to end with something a bit lighthearted yet informative and that has an entertaining slant to it. So with Home Beautiful, I write a column called Domestic Icons, where we celebrate the things that we all grew up with, but we kind of have put in the back cupboard for now, like macrame and fondue sets and Matryoshka dolls and all those things we had but kind of grew out of aesthetically, I suppose, and still have a cherished place in our attics.
I'm really such a fan of your Home Beautiful column. What's your process in putting that together?
It's kind of a strange one, in that the blessing and the curse of having a brain that works purely in comedic terms is that it's always on. So there might be something I see in a shop, and it could be a secondhand shop. Like, oh, I had one of those in our house growing up. That would make a good column. And I think for that's the starting point of finding those things we all grew up with, and then trying to inject some warmth into it. So what are your memories around those things, and finding the things that we could all relate to? So, for example, we all had those tins in the house, and one said salt and one said pepper and one said sugar. But we all always, if Nana had left her glasses at home, it would be fun to make her have a teaspoon of salt in her tea.
Yes.
Just because she couldn't see the writing on the label. So it starts off that place of universality of object, and then works into universality of experience with warmth and jokes scattered throughout.
Mm-hmm. So it becomes this relatable thing that the reader goes, oh, yep, that happened in my house too, or something like that.
Absolutely. I think that is the key to humour, is that especially in a media landscape where people are so deluged with input and information and clickbait and stories like that, humour is still the best way to make those barriers drop, and you can have a more intimate and personal conversation with your reader.
So how and where do you find your work? Do you do any marketing, or do you have a pipeline?
I guess it's a brand, if you want to look at it, that's been around for 20 years as a writer. And over that time, and through various staff positions at magazines and then freelance work, I have become known as much for my tone as my content.
Yep.
And where people want to find something that's humorous, people do come to me for articles, but I still pitch like every good freelancer should, and use my contacts and find things that are funny in the daily world, and go to people with a concept or an idea, and it gets yes or no, and you go off that.
It's really true, isn't it, having that really strong tone that you're known for. We recently chatted to Shane Cubis. I don't know if you know him at all, but he's also got that sort of humorous slant, and that he's known for that tone and gets approached for that. And it's interesting, I suppose, because magazines are looking for something that's going to engage their readers even more than usual. So if you've got something that's a little bit different, I think it can make you much more able to stay in that space compared to other journos who've had to edge into other areas, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely, because we're moving more from informing readers to entertaining them, and that's something that is especially relevant in the TikTok era, where you've only got a few seconds to grab them. And getting in with a setup and a punchline does make people stick around a bit longer, especially now that I'm moving more into the digital space. You're seeing it in reduced bounce rates, that people do stay on articles longer that have jokes in them.
Oh, right. Do you do much straight journalism? I know you've done quite a few, like celebrity profiles and stuff, and that doesn't have a lot of jokes in it, does it? Or is it fairly straight?
Oh, you can absolutely find jokes in it. And I think that it works on one level of making it more engaging for readers by putting in whatever pop culture references, but it also disarms your subjects. If you're interviewing them, if you can have a laugh together and not be the fourth person of the day who asks what their favorite green juice is, you immediately establish some kind of a rapport, especially if they are also performers.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. So your work, your kind of mix of work, is it more journalism? It sounds like it's a lot more journalism than content work.
Oh, absolutely. It's practically no content work.
Wow. So, you're one of those rarities, really, who can still make a good living in journalism.
Yeah, I'm a fucking unicorn.
Good. We like to hear that.
Can we make that the title of this podcast?
Yes, for sure. Do you have a lot of columns though, don't you? How does that work?
Yeah, columns is something that definitely is a big part of what I do. and that'll be on a various number of magazines. Home Beautiful, you mentioned. The Rake is a men's mag. I do a column called Cherchez la Femme, which is basically lauding some amazing woman from the past, or who's done incredible things in whatever field, and they're all kind of those old school Katharine Hepburn and maybe Jane Fonda, or those old school icons who are just everything to everyone.
Yeah.
And a new column which I'm loving doing is for Time and Tide, which is a watch publication, an online watch publication, and I approached them saying that. And the editor's an old mate. We used to work together on GQ. And I said, you know what? For the majority of the population, they can't afford your $5,000, $20,000, $30,000 watch. I want to do a column called Cheap Bastard, where every watch I do is going to be under $500. And so it's looking at that little niche and going, where will my tone fit
Yes.
with your publication? And those two factors are equally important. My tone, your publication.
Yeah.
But being a columnist is very stressful as well, isn't it? Like, do you think you're only as good as your last column? And if people just didn't laugh or the editor thought it was a bit shit, then, you're out the door and they're going to look for another columnist?
No, I don't think. I think that you can build up goodwill and over time and bring a consistency of performance. And as you say, you can be as good as your previous column, but then it comes into those, how do I work as a freelancer, and what are the values I'm bringing to this agreement or this unofficial contract that we've got going? And I think that's something that for me has proved very, very valuable over time. I don't view myself as an artist. I view myself as an artisan, like a plumber or a carpenter. I show up on time, I deliver on time. I'm not going to dick you around on the rate that we've agreed on. And so basically, next time you have that issue, I'm going to be the person you call. And it's looking at those business fundamentals, I guess, as well. And also not being too precious about edits to the copy.
That's hard when you're working on such personal stuff, like in columns. Is it hard to let that go? Or is that because you were a sub-editor?
Yeah, not at all. Once you've been a sub, in 99.999% of cases, that any sub who's worked on my copy has made it better. I have no problem with my copy being improved. I don't know why any journalist would. It's just that kind of thing. I don't make art. I make snacks. If you're going to add a bit more flavour, fine. Do it.
I guess, you've come through, like we all have, the real salad days of journalism where it was $1 or even more a word. How do you approach the whole setting your rates these days? Do you have the power to set your rates a bit more, or are you finding you're still at the mercy of what editors want to pay you?
A little bit of both. I've also reached that stage where I can say no to things that I think where I am being undervalued or the work is being undervalued. I think that journalists should, if they can manage it financially, do a bit of pushback, because the rates, as you say, have diminished. But by the same token, I also know that I have to adapt, or otherwise I can't do this job that I genuinely love doing. So, maybe I'll up my output of words, but it won't have the same level of continuity or depth or preparation that I might like. Certain compromises have to be made. But like I said, I'm an artisan, not an artist, and I'm fine with those things.
Well, I think you work quite fast too. I mean, that makes you more efficient, even if, so your hourly rate is probably high, even if the word rate is lower. Do you think that makes a difference?
Yeah, absolutely. And most of the time it's coming out of my own head. As a columnist, I'm not really doing a great deal. If I'm interviewing people, it's not a huge in-depth 2 or 3 hour interview. Most of the time, I'm a triumph of confidence over talent. And I just genuinely believe that people want to hear what's going on in Smeety's head today.
Well, apparently they do. So that's good.
So
good. Shitloads of work, so they must.
Yes, so far so good. But like anyone who works in performing, you're just waiting for someone to go, listen, mate, you've been getting away with this for far too long. It was Lynn Nicholas had this beautiful quote about, I spent the first part of my career waiting to be discovered and the rest waiting to be found out.
Yes. Yeah.
Routine. Have you got a routine? Is there a typical week for you, or something that you have to do every day?
Well, I've recently started a gig at escape.com.au, the travel website, which also has its own magazine and is in the Sunday telly and newspapers around the country. I'm there a few days a week. So I just, I wake up, come to my computer, and go into the office when pre-COVID a few days a week. I guess it's the discipline of having been a freelancer for so long that you can just go, right, time to work, sit down and just get started. There's a great quote from that wonderful movie, Throw Mama from the Train. And the quote is, a writer writes.
Yeah.
I find that kind of people talk about, writer's block and what have you. And I say, my mantra is the best laxative for writer's block is a mortgage.
Yes.
Get one of those and the words will flow.
Yes. So I'd love to talk to you about your comedy, because I mean, you were always, when we worked together in offices, you're always the funniest guy around the sub-editor's desk. And then you decided to take
Thank you for giving such a narrow profile, not the building or the magazine, just the sub-editor's desk.
Well, of all the sub-editors I've known. But then decided to take that comedy to a bigger audience. And how long? It's about 12 years, has it? How long's it been?
Been gigging for about 12 years. It's another way of, as a writer, it's another income stream. Like a lot of writers would go, okay, I'm going to do content, or I'm going to do, corporate comms, whatever they do. I looked at it and went, okay, so the media landscape is changing. And so what can I do that's going to be fun? There has to be that element of it, or why do it? Years ago, when Power of Wine just came out, I interviewed Bryce Courtney, and it had such a massive impact on me. So I asked him the same question about how do you embark on new projects? And he said, I asked myself, will there be joy in this? And that really resonated with me. So I thought, okay, I can write funny. And I also massively need the approval of strangers. How can I manifest that? And stand up turned out to be the way.
Is stand up sort of on hold at the moment, obviously, or what's happening?
It is on hold at the moment, but in being in New South Wales where I am, we had a great run for a while. We had 8-9 months where rooms were back at capacity. So, it's on hold, but it'll come back because people want to laugh given any circumstance. So it's just push pause for a minute, but still writing jokes.
Yeah.
Do you love the comedy? Is it hard to, is it a balance between the writing, or do you think you do comedy all the time?
No, I love them both. I genuinely enjoy sitting down at a computer and writing an article, but I also love doing it on a stage. I'm trying to find that middle ground, and it's almost finding itself.
Yeah.
And there's certainly great opportunity for funny writing still, for example, and just the fun of it. It's a fun job in that way. Making jokes isn't a hard thing. It is a joy. When I see what other people have to do for work, I'm kind of very lucky and privileged to do what I do. I'll give you an example. The other day, I wrote a story about a lake in Western Australia that had just been filled with 1 million barramundi to become this new fishing capital or tourist example. And I got to use the headline, putting the bait into clickbait. And you just you push save and you have a beer and you go, well, I'm done for the day.
Well, I remember when I was your chief sub, that you'd often try and slip particular headlines past me to see if they get it into print.
Very vigilant, Lynn. You were very vigilant. I still want to do a story on Morocco just so I could call it Casbah the Friendly Host.
Yes, that was always your ambition. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you ever had a time though where you couldn't write, or you felt you lost your sense of humor, and were kind of working harder to get that funny take on things?
You know what? Not really, Rach. It's just the way my brain works. It's and you could, I don't want to delve too deeply into it because I don't know what I'd find, to be honest. But it's just I can't find the funny. So that's why I've never been a serious, like, proper grown up. Let's talk about I can't write on COVID. I can't write on political policy. In fact, I did a column just very recently, and it was basically the column was stop asking comedians to write about COVID. I said to my editor, can I just write 2 or 3 sentences on why I'm not qualified and leave the rest of the page blank as my little protest? And she went, no. She went, no. So I actually just got an epidemiologist to write the rest of it. That was just a joyful way of doing it.
Oh, that's so nice. So on a practical level, I know you're a bit of a gadget guy. You do like the gadgets. Are there things that you use in your daily sort of writing thing that make your life easier, gadget-wise?
I wouldn't say gadget-wise, but app-wise, definitely.
Yep.
For anyone who does interviews, I'm a big Rev and their counterparts, I find, for transcribing,
Yep.
is an absolute godsend. I find Snopes.com an absolute godsend as well if you're writing about anything, and you can check the veracity of urban legends. And I absolutely love that. And that's really about it. I mean, obviously websites that you love, but gadget-wise, it's more like the app focus and hunting around. That's the joy for me.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that, we haven't asked you that you think is important for anyone thinking of freelancing, or is there anything you'd recommend to new freelancers who are starting out?
Yeah, well, one of the things is it's not about you, it's about them. It's about their publication. And you need to take your ego out of it, because most of the time, the overwhelming majority of the time that you get feedback, it'll make you a better writer. And the fact that someone's taken the time to give you that feedback, you should be grateful for. And another thing I always tell aspiring writers is that editors want to be able to slot you into a category or a part of their publication or website. So look at those verticals or those pillars and say, right, let's say, for example, a magazine like GQ that are Rest in Peace. They'll have fashion stories, they'll have grooming, they'll have political stories, they'll have culture stories. Look at their frameworks and pitch accordingly. Fill holes that the editors have blank. And that's the way you will get your work. Another thing that is very important is some kind of online portfolio that people can refer to. I recently found one called Authory, authorY.com. And I've signed up to that. And the thing I love about that is that it automatically searches for your bylines and just adds it and saves your portfolio, so you don't have to add them manually every time. So having some kind of online portfolio that people can refer to is a big plus.
Mm-hmm. I've heard about that app. Is it true that once it collects your stories, you never lose them again? It just keeps.
Absolutely, yes. It's a cloud backup. So it's I used to be with Journo Portfolio, which looks a little bit prettier, but I think Authory is better for backing up. And once you've set up, it's automatic, and you get an email every day or two going, "Hey, we found the story of yours."
Oh, that's good. So even if the outlet takes that story down, it'll still stay in your Authory portfolio.
Absolutely, yep.
Oh, great, isn't it? Mm.
Yep, highly recommend it.
How fantastic. Well, David, thank you so much for chatting to us today. And in light of online portfolios and where you can be found, where can we find you? Where can people follow?
davidsmiedt.com.au. It's SMIEDT, on Insta, on Twitter. I won't say anything serious. It'll probably be pictures of my dogs and jokes. And but hey, if you're into those two things, I'm your man.
Thank you, David. It's
Thank you, guys.
always lovely to chat to you, you know, on the pod or in real life. So hopefully we can do it in real life again sometime.
I hope so. Thank you for having me, guys.
Thanks.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.